summers just hit different with Tim's.
What is up, people? Hope you're doing great today. Today is a Friday morning. Just enjoyed my coffee here, and then we are going to get after it. I got 3 rackets of mine to do, and I'm playing a tournament this weekend, so gotta get those done. And yeah, just feel free to, I don't know, if you're watching this later, you can comment if you have a question or something, or yeah, let me know if you guys are playing any tournaments anytime soon. That's always exciting. And if you yeah, have any other questions or anything, and then if you're watching this live, welcome, cheers to you. And yeah, we're gonna start cutting some string out of some rackets and kind of get after it here after I finish this amazing espresso of mine. Alrighty. Alright. So yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. These first time I'm actually stringing most of my rackets since being at school. So I got 3 to do today. I'm gonna try and get them relatively fast. Normally I slow down with you guys when I have you on the phone there, or on the live I should say. But we'll try and keep them moving pretty good today. I've strung my rackets a million times, so it's not like I gotta string new rackets or anything. But for people that are joining in, welcome. Normally not doing rackets or stringing anything in the morning. Just because I'm normally busy, I normally have school or something or whatever, and it's honestly probably not the best time to be doing a live stream. People are busy, people are playing tennis, people are at the gym, people are working, people are grinding, doing their everyday life things. So yeah, apologies, we might not have many viewers in today. I tried the Rafa, not the Origin. Oh, where is it going? Weird there. I tried the Rafa, not the Origin Arrow, and couldn't serve or volley with it. Groundies were good though. Interesting. Yeah, you might have had some struggles there with the volley because maybe it was a maneuverability thing, or it could have been the string tension, or maybe it was yeah, I mean, it could have just been a personal personal preference. I personally thought the volleys on that racket were great, but just like any other racket, it's very personal preference, really. Like, that's just what it is. But I personally thought they were great. I felt like I could just slap the shit out of volleys with that racket. Andreas, what's up, bud? Welcome. We were just talking about the Pure Arrow. Oh, sorry. I guess I responded to that question. You had the regular one. I was responding as if you played with the Origin. I can understand that, actually. Sorry, gave you a bad answer. The regular Rafa was probably flimsy at net. I believe that, absolutely. So, honestly, just the regular Rafa, what is that, like 300 grams, 305? Like, that's honestly not that stable when you think about it. Unless, and it depends on your level of play as well. Like, if you're playing at like a pretty good level there, that ball is probably coming pretty fast, it's back. So a racket like that might not feel stable at the net. which would make sense. Yeah, it was pretty light. Yep, I would expect that. Some people really like that feeling though, like they will use a lighter racket just to, because they like that feeling. Like I even have like some guys on my team that will not add weight to their racket just because they love the maneuverability factor. And like I think we are seeing that more and more. Guys will maybe not add weight to their racket or not add as much because they like that lighter sensation. I mean, whatever works for the player, right? I personally love really beefed up rackets. Like, I love that Rafa Origin. I actually just weighed a couple of my rackets because I felt that they were not, the quality control was maybe off, or I didn't add as much weight as I should have because I got 2 more radicals. And one was 352 and one was 346 static weight with string and everything in it. So I didn't have a scale or anything like when I was at school, so I had to just guesstimate and go off of feeling. So yeah, I'm gonna have to tinker with that before I play this weekend, but whatever. I'm using an 11/7 ounce setup usually. Oh, what is that in grams? I should know. Well, what is my radical static? Then I can give you a better. Where is that? Oh, right here. Okay, mine is like 11/1. Okay, so it's probably like, I don't know what the math is on that, but like 320, something like that, maybe 325. So that's like 331. Okay, so I was kind of close. So that's like a pretty good weight. That's what my head extremes used to come in at, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So was that the weight with the Rafa regular setup, or was that like your normal weight? What's up? Watching from Germany, perfect for a lunch break. Welcome, Chris Forfeit. Welcome, welcome. That's the weight on my D-Core 97 Pro. Okay. Have you tried the Percept yet? That is kind of their new thing. I tried the 97B, but it was too controlled actually for me. It was a solid racket. I didn't even add any weight to it actually. How much does this stringing machine cost? Well, right now it's a little bit older, but if you want to get one of these brand new, it's probably like around 1,000, I'm guessing. That's just my ballpark. Like most crank machines are 800 or more. That's if I'm remembering correctly. And then when you look into getting like electric stringers and stuff, you're getting up into that like 2 to 8K. Like you got some machines that you pay for that are really good, the electric ones, and they're like, some of them are so expensive. But then like the crank ones, I think you can maybe get a cheap one for maybe around 1,000 or like 800. Or if you look on like some used sites or eBay, you might be able to get like a used one. Like I got mine used and I only paid like 400 or 500 for it. And I have been using it ever since the last like 5 years, 4 years. Yeah, no, probably like 5 years. And I actually should get some new clamps. That's that's a thing that I must admit, I have not replaced my clamps. I'm extremely lazy, which is bad on my part. I'm demoing the 100D Gravity Pro in Blade 1618 next week. You must mean 19. That's good. You'll have to report back. Just comment on a video of what you think of that 100, the 100D, because that's the racket that Carew was using there for a bit, and I wanted to give it a whirl as well. But I think probably out of those three, since you're coming from the 97, I bet you'll probably still enjoy the Yonex because it will have the Yonex feel. But the Gravity Pro might surprise you because it's pretty controlled. And I feel like the Gravity frames, they have that teardrop shape, so you might like that, but you never know, you might like the Blade too. Hey man, I tried Super Toro, but I noticed it's a bit tight in my normal tension compared to Confidential. Other than that, it's a great string. It has some good snapback. Okay, you could drop the tension a bit, or you could, what do you call? You could do like a 55-53, or you could do like a 40 or 50-48. Like you could do like a hybrid string tension, is what you can call it. Like you put one tension on the main and a different tension on the crosses. A lot of players do that. I used to do that for a while with actually Confidential as well. I think I did 54 and 52, and I did do 53 or 55 and 53. A lot of players do 50 and 48. I don't do that now with my Super Toro, but maybe that could help solve your issue. But that is one thing that I've always said is the tension maintenance is relatively good on the Super Toro, at least in my opinion. So if it was coming off the bed tight, that's kind of a good sign in a way, because sometimes strings will lose tension right off the bed, or right off the stringer. Like if somebody is playing in a tournament and they, like me, so like I'm stringing my racket right now. If I take my stringer, or my racket off the stringer right now at 50 pounds when I'm done, and I play tonight, the racket is not going to be at 50 pounds. I've said this a few times. So it's quite interesting. Even if I strung with an electric stringer, same thing. Doesn't matter. It will lose tension right away. It's just the way it goes. Thank you for the donation, Foodland99. Do you use a Radical? What do you love about it? Great question. I do use the Radical. I'm stringing 3 of them right now. I got one there, and I got my 2 others here, and then I have 2 other ones upstairs that I'm just not bringing to the tournament with me because it's only a weekend, so I'm only going to bring 3 fresh ones. What do I love about it? First of all, the Radical is a pretty solid platform racket, I would say. So you have the ability to add weight, and you have the ability to add weight where you want to kind of customize it. Some rackets are tougher to do that with. For example, a pure arrow, or like a pure drive, or even like, I don't know, there's some rackets that are harder to customize. We call this a platform racket. Another racket would be like an Ultra Pro. I see somebody commented, oh, what's up, Johnny? Ultra Pros, funny that that's there. The speeds are not bad to throw a platform. Blades are okay. Pro staffs are good. Like the old 6-1-95 was a great platform racket. V-Core 95 is a great platform racket. A lot of rackets that are more control oriented tend to be good platform rackets. So anyway, back to our point. The Radical is a platform racket, so you can make it with what you want. And like when they launched this new Radical, their big marketing thing was like the people's racket. So not only is it good for like customizing and stuff, but like the way you play kind of fits in with the racket. Like I feel like when you play with like a pure arrow or something, or like a pure drive, like you're normally playing with like big spin and big power, and like that's a strength of yours, and you like to play on clay or whatever. Like that's the stereotype. If you play with a radical, or at least these new iterations, any game style normally has success with them. Like it's very versatile. So like if you're an all-around player like me, that's a reason why I really like this racket. It just works really well on everything. And then you can kind of like further customize it with like string and tension and all those things. But yeah, I mean overall I love it. It's great up at the net for me. It does the job on the serve, really solid. Like I said, you can customize it. I added weight. Yeah, so I hope that kind of answered your question. I love a lot about it. Feels great in my hands. Somebody asked a question about the Ultra Pro. I'm just trying to finish the last main here. What string would you recommend for an Ultra Pro V4 1619? Wow, that is a loaded question. Depends what you want, depends what you're using. You always have to remember, like, what are you looking for out of the racket? Like, what's your level? If you've been used to using polys, like a full bed, then I would continue to use a full bed and a poly. If you have arm pain, that's something to take into account. I always like to send people, people should be using the most controlled string they can as possible. If you're at a high level, because if you're at a high level, you can produce your own power and spin, so then you want to get the most control out of the racket in the string. So, I mean, if you want to do a tour line thing and you can get a deal with our code, got to plug that in there because, it's good stuff. You can try like a Super Toro or a Wasabi, or we got a Ether string review coming out really soon. There's like RPM Blast, there's Torbite, there's Confidential, what I used to use, which was a great string. There's a lot of different ones you could try and throw in there. I believe that's a 97 square inch, so if you're playing at a higher level, maybe I would, well, you know what, in general, it doesn't matter your level, I would probably throw in like a thinner gauge, like a 17 gauge, like as thick, just because it's going to feel crispier. If you want to hybrid it, you could put natural gut in it, but that would be really expensive. That would probably play really, really well though. Then you could put like a good multi in it, like a Tri-X or like, I don't know, I'm not really familiar with the multis anymore. I don't even think they make Tri-X. That's a Technofiber string. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one for me to say because I really don't know how you play and I don't know what you're using right now, but there's a lot of different good string offerings for sure. There we go. Hi, can you compare the feeling of Vogel Cyclone to Confidential? I love the Cyclone, but the tension maintenance is horrible. I also feel you on that. And I'm looking for a similar feeling. I'm just trying to think of my string history. I actually love the feeling of Cyclone off the stringer. But then the tension, it sucks so bad. Sorry, Vocal, but throwing you under the bus big time. It just sucks. It goes so quickly. And I used it in a pure arrow as well, so the tension really fell off there. That's not a control racket whatsoever. So I completely understand your pain. I mean, you could always just cut it out, but I know people don't want to do that because they want to save money. I think Confidential plays a little bit different. I think Cyclone is a little bit more lively. I haven't played with it for a long time though, so it's hard for me to elaborate. Actually, I've seen one of my old pure arrows just under under the desk here, but it doesn't have that string in it anymore. So it's just like, it's hard to explain. Confidential is like a more circular 6-sided string, and I think the Cyclone is a little bit sharper. So you definitely like, I find Confidential is it's very predictable. Very predictable. And that's why I loved it, and that's why I used it for 3 years. And from Vocal Cyclone, I actually think I went to Lynx Tour, and that's a good string as well. I had to throw that in my racket earlier this year, earlier this year in the school year, so like this was like last August and September, I had run out of string. I had no more Confidential, and it was before the Super Toro era. And I put it in my racket, and it feels great. Lynx Tour is a good string as well, so you could try that. Confidential, I would give that a try, maybe just buy a few sets. But I mean, like honestly, Confidential, Super Toro, they play similar, so you could also try Super Toro as well. I feel like Tourline, like what you get from them is pretty solid for the price. Like they make some good stuff, and it's like really good bang for your buck. And like Tourline's also a 6-sided string. It's colored, it's blue, so like it plays a tiny bit livelier than Confidential, but you still get that feeling of predictability, and like that's what I love about the Confidential so much, and that's what I knew, like if I was gonna change to a new string, like it had to be of that similarity. Like I love the predictability. Some polys you just don't get that, and like it's crazy because Super Toro compared to some polys is like relatively soft. Like if you compare it to like Sync or like Alu, like this is pretty soft, and you can still get really good control and like predictability there. But I've used many strings, but recently Confidential and Alu Pearl Rough. Alu Pearl Rough. Wow, I've never heard of that. It just must be the color. Alu Rough. I've actually never played with Alu Rough, so tough for me to comment on that one. But normally rough strings, normally get some good feedback. But not the same racket. Well, yes. Then you gotta play with one in the same racket because that goes a long way. I recently tried Toro in the mains with Wasabi X in the crosses, and I instantly fell in love with it. Listen, I'll tell you, like, people used to give me a lot of shit for liking Tourline. It's good stuff. Like, it actually is good. So that means you would have the pink. I have it here somewhere. Actually, oh, that's Wasabi. I actually never have tried that setup before. So you have Toro, so the pink one with Wasabi X. I have to give Wasabi X a few more tries. I tried it, I tried Wasabi X with Wasabi, I think I did, in the fall when I was testing Super Toro as well. And I maybe should have tried a full bed, because like, I love the feeling of that string, but I never did a full bed of it. I'm sure it would play pretty well. Hard to get Tourline in Europe, and there's no 16 gauge of Super Toro from what I've seen. No, there is not, but honestly, I used to use a 16 gauge in the Confidential, and changing to a 17 gauge was probably the best thing I ever did, like ever. Like the amount, it feels crispier, it feels more livelier, you can feel the ball better. I feel like if you're solely looking for durability, then you go with the 16 gauge type strings. But I think that going 17 gauge, especially in my rad, that's a big one for me. Like I'm playing with, I mean, a Radical's not like super controlled by any means, but it's definitely on the controlled side. So it was definitely time to, you know, have a 17 gauge probably. I mean, I would try the 17 gauge, see how it feels. And then I guess if you don't like it, then I obviously get that. It's a German brand you might know. You know them, they're famous for their leather grips. Oh, that's the brand I couldn't pronounce. I actually don't know them. But you know what? I have some German friends that might know that brand. I'll have to ask them about it. Oh, I do that every time. I don't want to do that. I've been getting in the habit of the first main, the last main, and the top, or sorry, I gotta make sure I say this right. The last main on each side, and the first cross and the last cross, I've been tying, or sorry, pulling tension tighter on them, because a lot of the times that's where we lose tension in the rackets. So that's why I keep going back to like the tension thingy. That's honestly, it doesn't make a huge difference, but it definitely will, because that's where most of the tension loss will come from, is those last strings when you take the racket off the stringer. So if you want a racket that stays more true to tension, you have more of a chance of doing that. And the knots are better. 17s break too fast and okay, that makes sense. I totally get that. Maybe try like wasabi. Does wasabi come in a 16? I should know that, but I don't. That would probably give you some nice spin as well. But I know you're already using a pure arrow. It's actually too bad. Somebody commented like a few minutes ago about not having, it was you, I think it was you, the not having Tourline in Germany, or in Europe in general. And like there's been so many people, there's so many tennis players in Germany, man. All the clubs they have over there, it's crazy. Like, if we had tennis clubs in Canada like that, holy shit. I feel like tennis for them is like hockey for us. Like, it's crazy. Like, they have a club every 5 footsteps. And club tennis is a big thing. I know a ton of people that play that. So yeah, really cool. Just tennis in Europe, they have clubs everywhere. That's one thing I wish North America did a better job at. Like, honestly, the United States is absolutely no better than Canada when it comes to that stuff. Like, playing club matches, such a good idea. Paying the players to play makes, you know, for an interesting atmosphere as well. It makes it fun. Where do you like to put weight on your radical? Hello, my brother. What's up, Andy? We were just talking about customizing a little bit earlier, but I didn't talk about like my exact specs. I did do a video about that, which you can watch fully for like all the details. But I put around 10 grams in the butt of lead, and then I think I got like 3.5 up at the 12 o'clock position. It depends on the racket though, because of quality control. Like, I have a few that are under spec and like one that's over spec, so yeah. Do you think it's worth getting your own? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For me, 1000% worth it. I could not run this YouTube channel without a stringer. I can tell you that. Like, not that I have like 1 million subscribers or anything, but like when I do like a stringer view, if I had to give that to if I had to give that to a stringer every time, man, that would suck. Like, having a stringer for me is so sweet. Like, I'll come down here, it could be midnight if I wanted to, even though I'm never stringing that late. Or for example, what is the time here right now? For me, it's 10:30. So like, I can come down any time of day, string a racket, any racket with any string at any tension, whenever I want. It's kind of nice, and I have saved thousands and thousands of dollars doing so. I started stringing, I think, when I was 15, maybe? How old am I now? No, I was stringing earlier, maybe 14. That's bad that I don't know, but I wish I could flip the camera around, but I'm looking at my old drop weight behind the camera right now. I had a drop weight first. And then I got this crank. And then when I'm at school, I use the electric one, so this one just stays at home, obviously. But I had a hybrid setup when I was playing 14 and under, and I was breaking like a lot. And I remember my parents were like, okay, we're spending so much money on your string right now, like it's becoming an issue. And I was like, I don't know what to say, like, sorry, I'm hitting the ball the way I'm hitting the ball, I guess. And like, in hindsight, I was good enough that I should have been using like a poly, and maybe I wouldn't have been breaking as much. But then they were like, we gotta like cut down on this. And like the club that I was actually playing at that time, I traveled to play at that club because I remember handing my racket to the stringer like almost every day, and like that was horrible. And like I might have been only paying like $15, which is really good, actually. Canadian dollars as well. So like for my euros and American dollars and pounds, that's probably like in the range of like 10, around $10. Like to get a racket strung, that's really good. At least in North American standards. But still, if I had to pay $15 for me every time I get a racket strung, ever since I was 14 years old, I would be scared to know exactly what that number is. So yes, to answer your question, it's absolutely been worth it. But I'm also like, I play college, like I break strings. I'm testing strings for you guys. I demo rackets as well, so it would be a really hard time for me to have to give my racket or give a demo or whatever to somebody to do that. But if you're like a club player or you're just beginning, or maybe you're like 10 and under, or maybe like you're a weekend warrior and you break a string once a month, then I don't think you need to get a stringer. But then you could also be like, hey, I play men's doubles league and mixed doubles ladder and men's singles with my friend at the club or whatever, and they also break their strings, and it's like, I'll string their racket and I'll get $15 or $20 for them. Then you can kind of make like a tiny side hustle business. And like that's what I'm doing for my club this year. Like I'll probably end up doing more live streams because like I'm like the stringer at the club now. So like that we have a machine at the club, but like I'm probably not gonna use that one because I can just bring them home and bring them back. Like the club's like 7 minutes down the road, so I'll just bring them all back with me, and then we can make like a live out of it about it and all that jazz. I'm from Poland actually, and there's not a lot of clubs here, but it's getting better because of Iga and Hubie. I bet they're doing a great job. Love Iga and Hubie actually. Yeah, sorry, I guess just like France, Spain, Germany, Austria, even like, I know the Netherlands has clubs, but they don't pay like Germany would. Germany's the king when it comes to that stuff. Like that's crazy. What's up, Liam? Nice to see you, man. Just watched one of your videos actually, I think it was 2 nights ago. Was actually just telling some people about your videos and how sick they are. How awesome it is that you get, no pun intended, attended but court level with those guys. It's awesome. I think I was watching Andy versus Sinner, the practice, and then I watched some of their points because I'm a big Andy fan. But keep up your grind, man. They're awesome vids. How much did your stringer cost? My stringer, I bought it used because what happened was an indoor club near me started hosting like ITF events, so they needed to have an electric stringer. So I just bought it used for like 500 Canadian bucks or something like that. Pretty good deal actually, but it probably wouldn't be worth that anymore just because I have to get new clamps and stuff. But yeah, stringing is definitely something that I recommend to all tennis players. I think like on our team, like the guys that don't string, we kind of tease them. Like, come on guys, like how do you not know how to string? Like these guys have been playing tennis all their life and on like a really good level. And they are like, hey, can you string my racket? And I'm like, you know what? We're gonna go to the locker room together and I'm gonna show you how to do it. I think that if you devoted at least 10 years of your life to tennis, whether you play club or whether you play, you know, at a high level, college or whatever, and you are someone that breaks strings and like are into tennis, you should learn how to string. It's also like, definitely not in the beginning, but like, it's kind of therapeutic. Like, some people like to sew, some people like to knit. It's kind of like the tennis sports version of that. Like, for me, it's great. Like, I come down here, if I'm in a rush, I can crank a racket out in probably like 25 minutes. I think my best is like 23. So not like super fast, but like definitely not bad. But like, it's therapeutic for me because I come downstairs, I have one in my house, I put the live on if I want, I talk to you guys. It's good times, you know? Yeah, I go to tournaments out of country often, so I'm not sure if I can bring it everywhere. That's valid. They do have this, I literally was looking at it last night because I was thinking, like next year when I'm done graduating, like I'm not gonna probably live at home in the summer maybe, and I was like, I don't want to pay someone to do my rackets. Because that's another thing, you start stringing your own rackets and like you don't want somebody else, like I feel like you don't want somebody else to touch your racket anymore. Like that's like a thing. Like I was so nervous in the beginning stringing my own racket, and I would even like get people, when it came to like a tournament, this is when I was like a junior, like under 16, under 14, under 16, under 18, I would string my rackets all the time. But when it was a tournament, it was like for some reason I didn't trust myself. So I used to give them to my coach, and he's a great stringer. So like I was like, oh, you know, I'll give my rackets to Josh and they'll be fine for the tournament. It's like I wasn't confident in my stringing. Now, like if I gave my rackets to one of my teammates to string before like a conference match or whatever, no chance. I wouldn't even give my racket to like a lot of people just because I trust my stringing so much now, you know what I mean? And that's also like a bad thing in a way. But you get to that level once you do so many different rackets and string with so many different strings and stuff, and yeah, it's cool. But there's this stringer, it's like a portable one, a great idea. A lot of college players have it, and a lot of like guys that travel in the futures have it. And I forget what it's called. It's like a portable electric stringer, and you set it up on your table. It's so bad that I'm forgetting the name of it. But I'm thinking of like maybe buying one of those next year, because like I'm gonna need to string rackets, and you can like put it in your suitcase. It's like a little box. It's crazy. Great idea from that company. And I feel you build a better connection and understanding of your racket and strings. Yes, 1000%. Yeah, that's also just in general. Like, I feel like, I don't know, like, people, like, I'm convinced it happens with pro players as well. Because, like, some people are so not into gear. And don't get me wrong, I'm definitely into it. Because, like, I also have this channel. And, like, I really am nerdy about it. And it's cool. And, like, different strings are cool. And certain rackets do different things. And pro player gear changes, etc., etc., etc. But for, like, somebody that is, like, I don't know, like around like a 7 UTR and up, I feel like should have a great understanding of what they're using, why they use it, and anything else that comes with it. Because, like, there's been countless times good players, like I'm talking like ex-pro, college, high-level junior, average junior, I say, what racket are you using? What string are you using? They don't even know. Like, that is a very common thing, especially for like juniors that are like under 18. It happens quite a bit. And you know what? Also, it happens to guys on our team. They don't care about their racket. They don't care about their string. It's just like, oh yeah, I just go out and hit the ball. Like, they're not into it. And for me, that just blows my mind because I'm very much more on the analytical side. Definitely not the most analytical, because I know some guys on the other side that are super like anal and super analytical with every last tension and string, and maybe too much so. But like, guys, good tennis players or people, you would think they need to be very in tune with their gear. And like, it kind of drives me nuts, and it surprises me that so many people are not into it or don't maybe care as much about it. Like, for me, if you're playing college tennis and like you don't, we were talking about this a bit earlier, how people are playing with lighter rackets and stuff. Like, if you're playing D1, D2, or D3 on a good team and you like don't customize your racket, I find that really strange. Because when you're playing at that level, you know, you have your game style. You play the way you want to play. You have strings that you would think you would like, but some guys are just, you know what, they're just not into it. And those guys are generally the same ones that don't know how to string. And no shade to those people. Absolutely no shade. I always am surprised with people that, I don't know, are not as into it or don't care much about their gear. A lot of times, it reminds me of like junior days. Those guys are the same guys that play with like an old grip for a match day. I'll tell you, if you guys ever saw me play in a match with an old grip, no chance. Never. Always a new grip. Like, it's just little things like that that people, it doesn't bother them or something. It's so interesting. But yeah, always a new grip, always a fresh bed of string for a match. This weekend is actually a little bit of an exception because I could be playing a lot of matches. That's why I'm bringing 3 rackets and 2 used ones. But yeah, just interesting how, you know, different people operate. It works extremely well for some people, and some people, they need to be a little bit more analytical. Might need to take a mini water break. No, we don't have a ton of people on right now. It's not really a surprise though. Not really surprised because it's like the middle of the day people are working, doing their thing. Well, we got one racket down here. And 2 to go. Sorry, I'm just pulling the knots on this one here. There we go, one done. Second one, here we come. One thing that I was just thinking about is Roland Garros. I know we briefly talked about that maybe the other day when I go live, but there is some sick matchups in the first round. I know everybody knows about Rafa and Sasha, and if you didn't know, now you do, and that's pretty crazy. Some guys are, or I would say, I was thinking about like who's more scared for that match. Dude, it's gotta be Sasha. You have to be shitting your pants if you're him. Like, that's the last person you want to play in the first round, man. Come on. Like, I don't care if he's not top level. I don't care. But the guy, I don't think ever has lost in the first round there either. He's won it like 14 times or something like that. And for Rafa, you know, it's not great for him either though, because he was probably hoping to have a nice few first rounds, or, you know, round 1, 2, 3, maybe go smoothly, but I don't think that's going to be the case for him, because there's just no chance Rafa would win in 3 sets. I just can't see that. Because also, like, if there's a Grand Slam that, like, Sasha will win, I think it's actually French Open. And he likes playing on clay. He just won Rome, I think, too. So there's definitely, like, that's just a crazy match. Also, the Andy Murray-Wawrinka match, wow. That's like a vintage one coming up. The old hacks are coming out to play. And you know what, like, that's a match you don't want to see, actually, because whoever loses that, like, you feel for that person. Like, you don't want that match to happen, actually. Like, I don't want that match to happen, because low-key, like, you know, these guys, like, in your heart, like, I still have that feeling that, like, both of those guys could have, like, a run somewhere at one tournament, and then they're done. Like, I just feel that. And, like, when 2 of them have to play against each other in the first round, that's just shit. Like, you don't want to see that. But it still will make for a great match, I'm sure. It'll be interesting. I wonder what, like, the money line and the betting line is for those 2 matches, actually. It'd be really interesting to see. I know Andy switched rackets. We talked about that last time. Not exactly happy about that, but whatever. And then, yeah, I mean, it's not like Wawrinka is in top tier form either.
Sorry guys, for some reason sometimes when I look at the chat, it's really delayed. So my apologies for that. So I'm just seeing some comments here now. My bad. Hold up. I have fun with tinkering around with gear, but I can totally understand how some people don't want that extra dimension to potentially overthink. That's a great point. That's a great point. For me, it's just like having like that base knowledge. Like even it's like when people used to use like the Vapor 9.5s or the Vapor Pros, it's like, so how long have you been using 9.5s for? What's the 9.5? What do you mean? Like I would get those answers. I'm like, what do you mean? That's like the best shoe ever made. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I don't know. I just don't get it. Yeah, it's whatever. But I definitely understand what you're saying. What's the plan for the season? I'm assuming you mean like the summer season, at least in North America. In Canada, our outdoor season is very much underway now. Not very much, I shouldn't say very much. In the last few weeks, people are starting to really play outside a lot. I have a tournament this weekend, so that's kind of what we're doing here. I have a pre-hit tonight. I play tomorrow at 10:30, which is pretty unusual. It's a draw of 32. But I have a bye, so that's why I'm not playing until tomorrow. But I'm also in the doubles, so I gotta play that too. That's one thing. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but like sometimes I don't know what it's like for like Tennis Europe or UST events, but like sometimes when you play in these like weekend tournaments, you kind of like F your body. Like you like it's bad. Like you're it's like killing yourself in tennis. Like you play like 6 matches in a day maybe or something. Like why did I sign up for why did I do that? Like Rafa's plus 360, Zverev is minus 380. Honestly, that's so interesting. It's pretty tight. But man, who's actually putting money on Sasha though there? Like, I don't know, like that's crazy. Probably not many people are betting on it though because like it's so close. I don't know. Sasha's totally gotta be thinking this is his best chance to win Roland Garros with Sinner and Alcaraz. That is so true as well. And then like that's the draw you get in the that's honestly so funny. Like Sasha low-key, like sorry if there's big Sasha fans in here, but I find like he's a little bit of a whiner in a way. I don't know. Bear with me here. So like I could just see him like you watch the live draw. At least I think they probably did a live draw there. That's what they do for a lot of big tournaments. And like, or he just pulls up the site and it's like, oh, like I play Rafa. That's just so funny. Or like, I don't even think Rafa would be phased at all. Like he'd be like, oh yeah, maybe that's a tough round in the back of his head, but like, bruh, what am I doing? I'm stringing it to a tie-off tension. I'm getting sidetracked here, guys. My bad. Like it's just so funny. I just think that's so funny. Actually, I can keep that there. I was stringing at the tension that I do my knots. I don't want to do that. We're good though now. I'll whisk through these here. Get a couple of them quick. But yeah, sorry I didn't see those comments there. For some reason I'm not, I don't know if people commented again there, but like it's not, they ain't loading in.
Like I'm gonna have to do like a little refresh or something every few minutes here. I'm not really wanting to do that. Because that's what happened. Like I was just stringing and then I looked over and it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes have gone by. It's like nobody said anything. But like, yeah, we had some people on and it was weird. I really hope this is working still for me. It should be. Bruh, it's not. Somebody had another comment come in. Have you played Topspin 2K25? No, I have not. I heard it's out though. I'm not really, like when I play game, I'm not really into that stuff. Like the only like sport games I even ever played like growing up as a kid, like I only ever played like, I probably still have them. Maybe I don't. I guess I sold them all because we don't have it anymore. I used to have like an old like Xbox 360. If people remember what that thing is, that was awesome. And I used to play like NHL 12, 13, 14, and 15 on it. And I loved playing NHL. I also, when we had like, I think it was on the Wii, there was this game called like NHL Slapshot. Great game. Great game. Used to play that. But like, I know like a lot of the boys on our team, they love FIFA, and some guys like 2K, and like, meh. Never really was my thing. Never really was a soccer kid growing up either. I hated soccer. Hated it. I have a lot of appreciation for people that can play and grind at it, but I just could never. I actually don't mind like watching it, like especially like I got guys and friends that play on this new team. Like I don't mind watching those guys play because it's like a pretty good level. Obviously, like it's like if they came to watch our tennis, it's cool to watch. But like I just, number one, I can't play because I suck, and number two, like I don't want to play because I suck. Do you know if the that's the one that that's the one I was thinking of earlier. I don't know if you were here. We were talking about stringing. And that was the one we were talking about. Like, Frig, I think I've heard great things about it. I can't comment on it. I believe you're talking about the little square thing that you set up on your table. You travel with it. It's electric. I've heard amazing things about it. But have not myself used it, but I've heard great things about it, really great things. Hi man, do you calibrate your machine at all? And if so, what calibrator do you use? I have a machine. I just use the cheap Gamma stick type calibrator. You know what? I don't. I actually don't, and that's probably bad. But I actually don't. I think we actually might have one though, because they might have gave me one when I bought the machine. I really should do it, but I just don't. But what I've been like, it's not like the the difference between this stringer and the electric stringer at school, like I don't find a huge difference. There's definitely is a difference, but like I really don't feel it. So that tells me that they're pretty close. But yeah, I actually don't. So, and since I like string my own racket, like it's, I guess that's what he just said. I guess if you string your own racket, as long as you're consistent, it doesn't really matter. Kind of. The stringer does mean something. Like the stringer itself, like not me as a stringer, but the machine. Like if I pulled out, I'm not gonna go get it, it's so heavy. Like if I brought my drop weight over here and I strung at 50 pounds, man, that's when I would probably be like, oh shit, I gotta play a tournament and I gotta string my drop weight. I wouldn't wanna do that. But like if I have a good crank and a good electric stringer, I mean obviously I'm gonna pick the electric one, but like me as the stringer in my own string, that is definitely part of it. But it could be a few pounds off, but like, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a difference, but I don't think the difference is super big or anything like that. Where is everyone tuning in from? I always like to ask that question because it's always a different time somewhere else. Right now it's about 11 o'clock here. Nice to always see where people are watching from. I know some Europeans, it's probably at least 3 o'clock. At least 3 o'clock. Maybe there's some people that are watching from Canada. It might be earlier in the day there if they're out west or in the United States somewhere. Or maybe they're on the East Coast and there's some time. Or maybe it's, we got some people from Asia and it's late in the day. Any Brazilians in your team at school? We used to. Well, actually, no. Actually, I don't know if they were from Portugal or if they were from Brazil. They spoke Portuguese though. They were not in my time though, but no Brazilians. But we do have some Brazilians on our volleyball team because I know volleyball's super big in Brazil. What's up, Rafa? I might see you tonight, buddy. I don't know if you'll be there tonight, but I'll be there this evening. I'm going to be playing with Jeff at the courts when the matches are done. So maybe I'll see you there. You're playing against me tomorrow. In what? Doubles? Playing against me tomorrow. What do you mean? Did you play doubles or something? I don't know who I'm playing in doubles, to be honest. Haven't even looked. Let's go! Gonna have a grind tomorrow against Rafa. That's fun. Who did you guys play this morning? I'll have to look at the draw. I'm pretty aware of my singles draw for this weekend, but the doubles I had not really looked at. Right, I did look at it, but I just don't remember. Gold Coast, Australia. That's so nice. I have 2 friends from school that are from the Gold Coast. And they both played on the soccer team this year, on the women's soccer team. And wow, great place. that's honestly on my list. So you guys, frig, it's like late there. It's like 11 here. Damn, you're up late. You are up late, my friend, but I love it. You are up late. I'm just thinking an Aussie Open, like if a match was on at like 11 in the morning, here, it would be like really late there. But yeah, great place. Also, I love their personalities as well. Super real, super funny. So, actually, there's a few Aussies actually at SNU that I've had the pleasure of meeting and knowing. Take a quick water break here. Yeah, Gold Coast, Australia, guys. That's definitely on my list. And it says my computer's gonna die. That's not a great thing. Let's figure that out here before we start the crosses. There we go. Damn, I think the computer actually just died. So bear with me. I saw a comment come in and then I didn't. It went away. So it will load in here in a sec. Should work. There we go. Restore. Come on, why isn't it working? Gotta have some patience. Gotta have patience. There we go. It's coming. Oh, no. Just finished work, shift worker. Dang, that's a grind, man. Kudos to you. That's awesome. It is great here in the winter for playing. Yeah, honestly, yeah, you're so lucky. Like, your Commonwealth buddies here in Canada are freezing their tails off. So, no, yeah, you guys are so lucky. Honestly, my parents have been, and it's on my list for sure. I definitely have an excuse to go there because I know people there now. So, yeah, I definitely need to go there at some point. Playing with Grieger. Yes, I am playing with Grieger tomorrow. Who is your partner, Rafa? I'll have to look at the draw here, but I'm streaming, so I will do so after. Somebody's from New Jersey, welcome. I'm pretty familiar with New Jersey as well. Oh, you're playing with Felix, very good. I'm familiar with New Jersey a bit. We travel in and through there a little bit for our school, so that's really cool. One of my friends goes to school in New Jersey as well. That's awesome. It's actually really nice in the New York, New Jersey area right now. Like, that's where we had, like, our round of 32 was in New Jersey. Or sorry, wow, in New York. And like the weather was really nice, and then I come back home and like it's weird. Like spring is like a good 2.5 to 3 weeks ahead at least from like the Boston area down. So it's funny, like everything is nice, everything is pretty, everything is green, and then you come back here and it's like brown still and gray. So, but now we're coming along here now. It's nice here now, just the past few days. We're getting that same weather that we had there. But it's interesting how that works. But yeah, I am very much excited to be playing this weekend. Like in the past 2 years, I've come home and I've been hurt. Like my freshman year, I came home and I like didn't want to touch a racket because the load was like, it was a lot. And my ankle was destroyed. I couldn't play for a couple of months. Then I played in some tournaments in the summer. Didn't really perform. I was not primed up. And yeah, but I'm excited to play this weekend because like we just finished our NCAAs last week. It's been nice to be home a bit. I'm not like super beat up or anything. Of course, I'm still a little bit tired, but like that happens and that's really normal. So like it'll be nice to play in a tournament in the home province and not be beat up. NYC here, pretty terrible court availability, but everybody's got their secret tricks. Yes, I can believe that. What is it like for public courts there? Like, is it just like they're everywhere, but everybody just plays? Because like whenever I'm in New York, like we're spoiled. We get to play at like nicer clubs or like some indoors, and like obviously we don't pay for it, our school does. Or like when we have the ITAs, we're super spoiled, and I should really do more info about that next year. Like a lot of people don't know what ITAs is. ITAs is like the individual season for college tennis, and last year we played at the US Open. Well, the last 3 years we have played it at the US Open. So like imagine playing on US Open courts, pretty sick. They have it like the venue is, it's all there. It's pretty cool. You should do a live match. I have done them before, but the problem with doing a live match, or sorry, I do live all my college matches on Facebook actually. A lot of people don't know that. But I don't really tell people anyway because it's mostly for my parents and grandparents and family and friends that want to watch. So I'm not really, I mean, people can watch them on Facebook whenever I do the live at school, and maybe I can start sharing that stuff more. But whenever I used to live them on YouTube, the quality was so bad because I would travel. I would have to do it on my phone. The data, like streaming with data on YouTube, they would only, I think it was like 480 or 420 it is. The quality was just really bad. So I felt like it was worse that I was streaming on YouTube. And the quality on Facebook was better because they let it go higher. And yeah, the videos on YouTube of the lives, they didn't ever really do great either. So I was just kind of like, might as well not do them. But Nate, let's go, Katie Murray. Sir. Nate, guys, Nate is our assistant coach at SNU. Everybody say hi to Nate. That's in here. Everybody say hi to Nate. We love Nate. Nate is a beast. A beast. I miss you, Nate dog. I heard about your license plate. I know you're definitely laughing behind that screen right now. I heard about your license plate. And I think that's so funny. Jeremy sent me a text yesterday. Nate. Guys, Nate is one of a kind, all right? Nate is one of a kind. We love Nate. Nate has been with us, has been with Snoo Tennis for a long time. And Nate is also a grinder himself. Nate can ball. But yeah, he's been our assistant coach ever since I've been there as well. So, hi, just got the Radical MP and I'm surprised it is quite head heavy. Does it maneuver well? Do you recommend any customization? Thanks. Good question. Okay, so you just got the Radical MP and you think it's head heavy. If you think it's head heavy and you can't handle it, and you think the racket in general is too heavy, then you can not really do much, because if you add weight to the butt or the grip, it will counter it and it will make the racket not feel as head heavy, but yet you add more weight to the racket. So static, it's gonna feel more, the swing weight will probably go up a little bit. So you might have just as hard as a time as maneuvering it, if not a harder time if you add weight there. The other thing you can look at doing is changing your string setup. String setup can change the weight of a racket for sure. So like if you use a full bed of 15 or 16 gauge, 16L, 15L of poly, the weight of that is much heavier than say if you use a 17, 18 gauge poly, or if you hybrid. Multi-filament strings are lighter, so the swing weight would come down. So that's something you could look at, but then that changes a lot. You start playing with a different type of string, and yeah, unfortunately, that's really all I can think of. You can't like take weight out of the racket if it's already stock. What brand is the stringer? I have a Gamma stringer. I don't know the exact like number, spec, or whatever it's called. I should, but I don't. Some people are saying hi to Nate. That's good. We'd love to see that. Yeah, relative to NYC population, there aren't many public courts. I guess there's like millions and millions of people there. And you need to pay for a permit. There's some online reservable ones, but otherwise you generally have to wait in a line. Huh, that's interesting. Never heard about that before, never knew that. I guess that's why like belonging to a club or having like a membership at an indoor in New York is probably like maybe the way to go, because then you are waiting in lines all the time. I do get that. That's interesting. Online permit. Interesting. Everywhere does it a little bit different. At least where I'm from, there's actually not many people that play tennis. Like, we have like some private clubs, but then like the public courts, it's rare that they're all being used at the same time. Like, it's just not normal. Like a lot of people are either gonna go, if they're good at tennis and they care about their tennis, they're belonging to a club or they sign up for something. But it's the people that are playing on public courts, at least in Canada, are like, I've never played tennis before, and this is my first time, and I'm going out with my dad, and I'm gonna hit it off the fence, sort of thing. Like, so it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's just kind of how it works here. But then, like, I know, like in Europe, they have so many private clubs. I don't know how it is in like the UK or Australia or Asia or even South America. I would say South America has clubs, just like Europe. String weight can be incredibly different. Tri link storm, battle at RPM soft. Yes, it makes a huge difference. It really does. I remember doing that. Like I have like a kitchen scale, and people always razz me because they're like, "Kid, how do you not have a swing weight machine?" Well, they're like $500, and I'm a student, so I can't. So I would use this little kitchen scale, and I would weigh my rackets when I had like my extreme tours, and like having different string in there absolutely can make up to a 4 gram difference, for sure. The gauge and the type of string, the material,
whether it's 6 sides, 4 sides, circular, all that stuff plays into it for sure. Which is really interesting. And honestly, the biggest difference I think is actually when you start putting a hybrid in. If you put like you main with a poly, and then you put a softer multi or sin gut or a natural gut, like it's gonna weigh way less. That's just a fact. So it's interesting how all that works. We are moving along pretty good right now, guys. Pretty happy about this. Normally, oh, don't want to do that. Screwed that up. Right now that we are kind of more than halfway done, I have another racket to do, so we're pretty much getting to the end of my second one. Alright, so Sydney was impossible to get a court on one weekend. I was down there, but Brisbane Gold Coast is easy any time of day. You can find a court easy. And you know what, for some reason, I just have this picture in my head that every tennis court in Australia is just perfect. Every hard court is perfect and it's always sunny. That's just the vision I have. Am I wrong? I probably am. But like, I feel like there's no bad tennis courts in Australia. Like, there's no like public bad tennis courts. But anyway, what I was gonna say before that comment was, now that we have some time, and since this is gonna be like a little bit of a longer stream, for people that come in, we're always looking for what viewers want to see on the channel. And normally I don't actually ask that question because like, we always have things lined up. And you know what, we do have things lined up, but I always like to ask the audience like what they enjoy seeing, because sometimes we put out a video and we think it is the best video to be made. And the production of it is fine, I talk well, the content is good, there's good points of me playing, whatever, maybe it's a very popular string or racket, and then it flops and it doesn't do good. So, and then sometimes we put together a video which maybe we think will just be average or not great, but we still put it together and it does like 15K in a week. So like, it's really interesting how things go. We're generally pretty good at reading what's hot and what's not, but it's always nice to know what viewers like to see. So please feel free to share if you would like a type of video, because like honestly, we've done videos in the past, like I know when it was early days of MP Tennis, like a couple years ago, people would comment when I would do streaming lives and then I would make a video exactly about their question. So like, I'm not saying I'm gonna do that, but like I would definitely like consider it or like look at it and see how we could maybe make something. Aussieland seems like a tennis paradise. You know what? Yeah, 100% agree with that. I would say like tennis paradises, for me, Australia, like is 100% up there. If not, number 2, or sorry, it's definitely in my top 3. It's definitely in my top 3. I think Indian Wells you have to put up there. Next year I want to go. Indian Wells got to be up there. I don't know, like I had 2 friends that played there this year and they said the courts were like really, really grippy, so maybe the courts wouldn't be as enjoyable to play on, but like everything about Indian Wells, the place, the way it looks, the landscape, the desert, the tournament, it's awesome. So I think that in Australia are pretty great. And then I've been lucky enough to play at the U.S. Open, so like for me, that's not really a tennis paradise actually. Queens, New York can be a little sketch. It's in a weird area. It's right next to where like the Mets play, and like it's a nice little like sports area, and then all of a sudden it's like you can be in like the hood. So I don't think that's really a tennis paradise. I think Wimbledon is low key probably a tennis paradise as well. Like look at that place. It would probably be like Australia, Indian Wells. Oh, sorry, I forgot about Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo, those would be my top 4 easy. Monte Carlo, I'm not saying in order. Monte Carlo, Australia, Indian Wells, and Wimbledon for sure. They would be so nice to go to. Where did I mess up here? There we are. Summer just gone. We had so much rain, but we have a resort nearby with 2 covered courts that weren't too difficult to get on through the day. Our winter weather on the Gold Coast is generally sunny. You're so lucky. You're so lucky. Our summer is literally like your winter, and that's just like not, well, actually maybe it's not. Like for us it can get pretty hot. That's one thing that I hate, especially about you Americans that are on here right now. You all think us Canadians live in like some igloos. My teammates even heckle me about that still. It's like, how cold is it in Canada in the summer? I'm like, it ain't cold. It ain't cold. Like, I was on the phone with my friend yesterday, and he's from like the area that I go to school in. He's like, is it still cold there? Like, what's the temperature? And I was like, man, it's like 30 degrees. Like this weekend, or at least in a, like, Rafa just made a comment, he's from the city, that it was like 33 yesterday or something like that, or 33 today or something. Like, it gets so hot inland New Brunswick, where I'm from, in the summer. Like, it's honestly like there's days where it's like 40. Like, it's hot. In Celsius, or in Fahrenheit, that's like 100. So like it definitely gets hot. But I'm definitely jealous of your winter weather, because we would gladly take that. People think Canadians love their snow. We do, but not as much as you think. When we start getting snow in April and March, and maybe like a dusting in May, if that ever occurs, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, we're tired of this. So like, we accept the snow for what it is. We don't necessarily love it. Not that I'm speaking on behalf of all Canadians right now, but I ain't really a snow guy. The other thing that I saw you said too as well is we should, at least in North America, have covered sun-protected courts. I see that comment there. Why aren't there covered courts in Florida? The coaches are layered in sun-protective clothing, like it's kind of ridiculous. I agree. I also have a friend that I'm probably going to go visit in July, and playing outside in Florida in July, might as well just jump in the pool before you play, because you'll be that wet but in sweat in 5 minutes. Like, that's how humid it is there. Like, when we went to nationals our first year, it was in May, and that's still like spring, really. Like, it's not prime heat or anything. And holy shit, we were sweating bullets within the first 10 minutes, like changing shirts, and like you're going through, if you're practicing 2 hours, no, actually you probably wouldn't practice 2 hours in that heat, that's crazy. If you're practicing for 1.5 hour, in the middle of July in Florida, you're probably going through like 5 shirts, at least. Like, you're dripping. It's crazy. So yes, I agree. They should have sun-protected courts. Actually, they should have them there, and you could probably argue you could have them like in Arizona or California, Nevada, like some of those areas where it's really dry heat as well. But in Europe, they do that. Like, I know at Murata Glue, they have them with the clay courts. That's such a good idea.
You play outside, you still probably get some of that wind factor, but when it rains, it's like playing indoor almost. So that's super cool. I wish we did something like that as well, but like I said, there's just not enough people. Yeah, not enough people to want to do something like that here.
What's my UTR? You know what?
I actually don't know. I don't really look at it often because, not gonna lie, it kind of effed with my brain like a year and a half ago. Like I came into college like at like a 9. I was on the lower side. I wasn't supposed to play in the lineup. Then I got into the lineup. I beat guys on the team. And my UTR went up quite a bit. I was in like the 10s, low 10s or whatever. Then that summer, I had a good summer season. I beat some 11s. And my UTR went up like a full point. So I was like in 11.27 or 11.3, something like that. And then I started thinking about it so much. And I was like, oh my God, my UTR, blah, blah, blah. So then I lost some matches I shouldn't have. And then I came home and like I didn't play much and I was rest because I hurt myself, and then I lost to somebody I shouldn't have lost to. So then it goes down. I was not primed up. So it just kind of sucks. Then it went down a lot. Then I was like 10-5 for really a while. And then I think I've had some good results this year. So I think I'm like on 11 right now. Maybe like on the dot. So that's my guess. I actually did check a few weeks ago because it was an accident. I was checking some information on some teams before we played regionals. So yeah, probably like I'm around 11 right now. But I don't know the exact point actually.
It seems like there are a lot of covered courts in Asia or Pacific islands.
You know what? You're probably right. They probably know what they're doing there. But yeah, I wish we did more of that. I'm telling you, it would be so good. You don't need to do a lot of the courts. You just do some of them.
It was so hot yesterday.
Yes, I know. That's what I was telling my friend. It was like, it gets hot here. Like, it's the real deal, you know? But in the winter, it's freezing as well. Like, Canada truly has all 4 seasons. And, like, they're accelerated, or if that makes any sense. Like, they're intense. Like, the summers, if we have a good summer, on a hot day, you don't want to go outside. Especially where I'm from. But then on the flip side, you could have a 40-degree weather, Celsius, because we do Celsius here for people that don't do that. You could have 40 degrees Celsius in the summer, and then you roll around to January, February, and it's minus 40 with the wind chill. That's crazy. That's nuts. So like we could have an 80-degree flop like that within months, which is really crazy. There we go, racket number 2 done. Gotta get ready for this tournament, guys. We got one more to go here. Yeah, this is the one that I just did.
Do you think beating 11 UTR,
I think you mean hindered, or hinge, I don't really know what you mean, on serve practice or tactics or something else?
I don't know what you mean. Do you think beating an 11 UTR,
or do you, I think I know what you mean. Hinged. So like, you mean, do you think beating 11 UTR hinged? Like, do I think working on serve, like, is in tactics is like a reason why I did it? I think that's what you mean. Just clarify before I answer that. Because if that's the case, yes. Like, the reason why, yes. Okay, I know what you mean. Oh yeah, like when I'm playing college matches and stuff, and if I beat like an 11 UTR, like a weapon of mine is serve. I'm winning points from that for sure. My game is pretty unique actually. Like if you guys think of an Andy Murray with a big serve, but on a college level, that's me. Because like I'm grinding like him, honestly. I counter punch like him. Like I'm winning a lot of points like that. And I get a lot of free points from like my fitness. But I also get a lot of free points from my serve. I'm not saying I'm like as good as Andy Murray. I'm saying like that's how I'm playing on a college level. Like an 11 UTR Andy Murray with a good serve. That's how I play. So yes, I think for me, like if I didn't have as good as a serve, if my serve was a weaker part of my game, there's no chance I would win against an 11 UTR. Impossible. I need to serve well to beat those guys. There's other guys that would play like me too, but I feel like there's a lot of guys that play college that are grinding really hard. There's a lot of Europeans that play clay court at home that they're grinding really hard. They're playing a little far behind the baseline. They do the kind of thing. They're grinding. But then you have some guys that are playing like up on the 1 and 2 spot at some schools and they're bombing. And like you don't want to play them indoors because like they're bombing. And it's serve and it's +1 and it's return and it's +1. So there's some unique styles. I mean, not everyone plays the same that's an 11 UTR by any means, but I would say for me, like I would not win matches if it wasn't for my serve, to answer your question. What weight training and plyometric exercises are you doing to get that serve to 130? That's funny. I know last time we did those videos, we said we would maybe come back to it. I don't have a gun with me here though, so like the gun that we used at school was like a really good one. Like it was really accurate, and like that's why I was so happy to be able to use it, because like it was the one that the baseball guys use on our team, and our baseball program is really good. So they let me take it out and use it. But to answer your question, I'm still working out, and my coach at school is so convinced that I actually did do it during the year. He's like that, like he would come over to me in practice. He's so funny, and be like, that was 130 for sure. Or I even would have teammates that would be like, Kate, that had to be 130. And like honestly, I probably did hit it once. But like, it's not like I'm hitting 130 on demand. Like, that's so hard to do. Like, you gotta be Ben Shelton, really, to be hitting 130 on demand. Like, and I'm not hitting the 130. Like, I'm not trying to do that every time because it's just really hard. It's hard to do. Sorry, we got some questions coming in here. Hey, what's the difference between Extreme Tour and Radical MP? Which one should I get? I like to hit with spin and attacking shots. I would say if you have the opportunity, you should try both. But just a sec, I gotta get my spring here. I would say you gotta try both because they are definitely, I think, stock. They're like. I think stock, they're around the same. So the difference with the Extreme is you're going to get some more launch. So you'll get some spin there. But if you want some more control, versatility, a little variation in your game, maybe it's more of an Extreme Tour pick. But honestly, they're both great rackets. But I would suggest demoing them. Oh, that's cool. Do you use some junk like Murray does? Oh, absolutely. If you go look at like some of our shorts on our YouTube, there's some grind rallies on there. In junk by league, I'm not like slicing forehands and backhands like all day. Like that's not my game. But like as far as like running, counter punching, when my opponent like comes towards the net, I love like the forehand like short angle pass. Oh, So good. Or guy approaches into my backhand and I throw a really deep topspin backhand lob. Love that. But those are like Andy Murray shots, right? So I do play like that. At least that's how I'm playing a lot when I'm playing against guys that are really pushing the tempo. That's where my default kind of comes in. When I play against guys that are around my level or play similar to me, then I got to be a little bit more creative. Then maybe I'm coming to the net a little bit more. But yeah, I have my serve as well, which is maybe an area that Andy would struggle in on like a college 11 UTR level, if you can imagine. I will binge watch you serve vids this weekend. Sounds good. That's good. But yeah, if you look at like our shorts, like there's gotta be some grind rallies in there. There's gotta be some grind rallies. If you look at my backhand too, like I personally tried to model my backhand after him. It doesn't look exactly, but like the straight arm, like where's my racket? This part where it's like he has the straight arm back. For me, that feels so natural. So like, it feels good. My serve does not look like his. I use a platform, he uses a pin. So, but yeah, no, love Andy Murray. I love Andy Murray. And I really hope he can like string together one more run. Hey, do you know if Tourline sends discounts for high school players? I've been sharing on my story every time I get a racket with Tourline. I don't know. I would guess probably no. I mean, it depends on your level. Like, if you play like, I don't know, if you play like 10, 11, 12 UTR and you're in high school, then absolutely, I think they would. But I don't know. They might send you like a free set or something. You'd have to ask them. But like it's hard for me to say, like I don't, how do I say it? I'm like affiliated with Tourline, like MP Tennis is affiliated with Tourline, but like we are not, like I don't work for them. So like it's like hard for me to really say what they would do. They're super nice. I love their what do you call that? Their staff, their people there, very helpful. At least for me and people I know. But there's no other way than to ask. You would just have to ask and hope they would say yes or no, maybe. But it's relatively cheap as well. Like I love how they do the mini sets, like these. Like they're great. Nice to travel with. Yeah, they're great. I'm gonna go check on the camera here. I'm afraid it's gonna die on me. And then there will be no more stream, which would be not great. So let's see how we're doing here for that. Oh. We're at 31%. Maybe it's time to text Coach Chris and tell him to bring down some string or some chargers here. Normally I'm only doing 2 rackets when I'm max. I'm doing a string stream, so can you bring down my charger for my phone? There we go. Sorry guys. We don't want to lose you. I don't know how much longer I'll be, but probably not too long, but I just got K-pop mini reel. Yeah, no, great string, great. I love how they do the little reel as well. Is it worth checking out Tourline stuff when I've only been playing for a couple of months? I mean, sure. I mean,
if you've been playing for a couple of months, you definitely can check it out. I don't think you'd be breaking strings that much, so you probably would use a softer setup. I know I'm probably talking in some terms right now that you're maybe not familiar with, so a softer string is like a string that might be easier for beginners to use or easier on your arm. Tourline does not have any multi or syngut strings or natural gut, so I would suggest trying like Tourline Absolute, it's called. It's their black string. I think it comes in like a 17 or 18 gauge. But yeah, you could definitely string a racket with Tourline Absolute, and then you can use, if you want to try it out, you can use our code 2MP Tennis, and you will get like, I think it's like, you'll get a discount. But yeah, I mean, I would try that out. I know you probably are not like a big string breaker, but. Is the Radical MP as whippy as the Extreme Tour? I only demoed the Radical Pro, but choose the ET as I found it easier to whip with my lazy older legs to get to the ball. I would say you're probably right. Rackets that produce kind of that spin more often are more whippy, so I would, if I was picking a quote-unquote whippier racket, I would say Extreme Tour falls into that category. So yes. Not that a Radical is more, thank you. Not that a Radical is more, less whippy, but I think, this is gonna look funny. Not that a Radical is less whippy, but I think that the Extreme is more whippy. Because a Radical is more going towards like a prestige sort of vibe. You know what I'm talking about. Time to plug in the phone here. I don't want to lose you guys here. There we go. Hopefully you can still see me good. I play 3 to 4 times a week. I admittedly suck, of course, but I play a lot at least. Yeah, man. Have some confidence. You just started. No worries. Yeah, throw some Tourline Absolute in there. Try it out. If you don't want to try Tourline, that's totally fine too. You could try like multi or something. But Tourline doesn't have any multis or synthetic guts. I haven't broken any strings. No, and that's fine as well. But you don't want to keep the same string in the racket for too long. This is a very common mistake made by club players, is they leave the string in the racket for a long period of time, and then they might start to get arm pain because the racket and the string loses its elasticity, so it doesn't give you what it once did. So it's like hitting against a board. So it gives not great feedback into your arm, like your forearm, your elbow, and your bicep. So sometimes people get like tendinitis or tennis elbow. So that's things that I commonly tell like any like private lesson clients that I might have, or like kids at the club or anything. I try and get them to switch their string out of their rackets if they're not breaking it. No, not maybe. If they're playing every day, I would switch it at max. Like I would be switching once a month. It's also going to feel better too if you have a new string in there, and it wouldn't be too expensive too if you were stringing 12 times a year. Who's your favorite pro currently on tour? We kind of just talked about that. You must be just joining us, so welcome. I love Andy Murray. Love Andy Murray. I also love our Canadians. I love Felix. He's had a little bit of a rough go the last while. That's okay. Used to love Roger. Love Rafa as well. There's not really a player that I don't like. And a lot of people are like, how can you like Kyrgios? How can you like Bublik? How can you like so-and-so? Or how do you like Casperoo? He's so boring. Well, honestly, I just have so much respect for all of them. They all play at such a high level, and it's impressive. They devote their life to tennis, and it's really cool. So, really, really interesting. And also I love watching WTA as well. They're also very impressive. I would say we're probably making some okay time here. I've had Wilson Sensation Plus in my racket since I started. You know what? That's not a bad choice. If you like that string, then keep using it. If you want to try something else, like I said, you could try that Tourline Absolute. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of strings out there. Hey, what is the best head racket for spinning control? Ooh, spinning control. What's the best string for that as well? Well, I would start off by saying probably the Extreme Tour is a good spinning control frame. Used to use that one before my Radical. Great racket. You could also try the Speed MP or maybe Speed Pro. If you're more looking for more control then you can look at maybe some Radicals, and then if you're a beast, you could maybe play with the Prestige. But not many people play with that racket. I feel like Shapovalov is kind of lost. He's a good older coach. He a good older coach when he started, and he hired a WTA coach. Honestly, I don't know who his coach is now. I would agree with you. I definitely think he's had his struggles. But guys, I will say people hold tennis players to a really, really high standard. Well, you know what? People hold professional athletes to a really high standard. When something goes a little bit wrong or they start struggling, the media is very quick to do that and to be on people. And it's tough. Like, it's still really impressive even at his lower level. Like maybe he was playing like 90 in the world or whatever, or lower. It's still really impressive. That level is still extremely high. Playing tennis at 15K level, a lot of people don't understand that playing tennis at like a futures, that level is very high as well. It's very impressive, very, very impressive. So when people struggle a bit, I try not to give them a hard time because sometimes you just lose. It's tough. It is really tough, and sometimes you go on a little bit of a streak and you struggle for a bit. So, but he's definitely had his struggles. I don't deny that. Comparing to what he had before he was injured and all the other stuff. All right, we got. Sorry, can't. Coach within. No, I know what you meant. No worries. How can I increase my confidence playing? Well, that can be a lot of things. You got to make sure you're practicing. If you're just going out and you're playing and you're weekend warrioring, and you don't do anything to make you better, you're gonna have a hard time. That's just the way it is. It would be like me coming home from school, not touching a racket for 3 months, go back to school and then play a conference match. It's not going to go great. I would probably lose pretty badly. You got to make sure you're on top of it. Yeah, gotta make sure you're on top of it. You gotta make sure and if you are practicing, you gotta make sure there's thought into your practices as well. Commonly, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, actually, my strength and conditioning coach.
He also is going to be doing some online coaching. I think we're probably actually going to do some collabs together in the future. So we were talking about how people practice wrong. And a lot of club players, they go out to the court and they hit up and down the middle for an hour. And there's no structure, and then they go play their tournament and they say, what's wrong? What happened? Well, you probably didn't prepare great. The same thing that happens on a pro level, like happens on a club level. Did so-and-so that's a pro player prepare well for a tournament? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Did so-and-so who's a club player prepare well for their open tournament or their masters or whatever? It's the same thing. You got to make sure you're doing the right things in your practices. You're working on your weaknesses. You work on your strengths, and then you kind of put that to work in your matches. And then sometimes you're always going to have rough patches. But if you're just struggling out there, you gotta find what you're not doing well, because that happens a lot when you lose confidence. There's normally a stroke or something that doesn't go well. You got to work on your weaknesses in the practice, and it's tough for me to answer that when I haven't seen you play or don't know you. It could be a variety of things. Sometimes it's not even tennis related. Could be gym related. Could be mental related. A lot of different things. Tennis Players just got the Gravity Tours, so you could try those out. That's a good one for that person that was asking about that. I watched him practice at the U.S. Open. He was kind of acting silly and not serious compared to RBA, bias, team, etc. Who were we talking about? Oh, Shapovalov. Yeah, some people need that though. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, not that I disagree or agree with you. I'm just saying, like, everybody's a little bit different, and some of those guys, like, having fun is really important for them. So, like, if they're not having fun, then tennis is not fun for them. So whether that's putting music on when they're practicing or working on their tweener at the end of practice, like, they need to keep it creative. Some people just don't naturally like tennis for the grind. I'm one of those people that likes it for the grind, but some people need to be hitting the drop shots and working on things that make it like creative and fun. So, and that could also mean wearing a basketball jersey out to practice, like Kyrgios does. Like, it's all about the person. Everybody's a little bit different. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I try to not judge in that sense, because they're all pro players. They're doing something right. Because a lot of people will say, like, with certain pro players, like Kyrgios, if Kyrgios did so-and-so, he would have 10 Grand Slams by the time, by his career at this point now. Well, Kyrgios is not ever going to be like that. That's just not him. So it's not fair to say that. It's like saying, oh my God, if if Andy Murray had a better serve and was more gifted and talented like Roger, he would also have more slams. Well, yeah, no shit. Like, of course, but like, that's just not the way he is. Everybody is built a certain way and has their strengths within their game. And yeah, it's just kind of like, it's really interesting actually. It's always fun to have those discussions, but like, I don't know. It's also like, I don't know, I'm trying to think about guys, like, what if Rublev didn't drink Coca-Cola? Like, that's one that people have asked me before. Like, would Rublev be in the top two if he changed his diet? And I'm like, well, I don't really know. Does he eat that bad? I don't know. Like, it's just funny.
like Alcaraz plays better when he's smiling. That's actually funny. That's your people play better when they have fun. Carew from My Tennis HQ just made a video about that. Like, it's true. And like, people play better because they enjoy it more. There's less stress, less pressure so when people actually say Carlos plays better when he's smiling, they're probably right because he's having fun. People play better when they're having fun. Oh my God. I see some questions down there. I'll get them. I'll get to them. Somebody. Head extreme tour with head lengths black is beautiful for feel. If you feel pink, oh, that's somebody helping somebody else. Have you gotten to 130 yet? Haven't had a chance to catch up on the last part of your series. You should definitely watch. Because then you'll be able to see what ended up happening. I won't spoil it for you, but maybe you should go watch the last two videos actually, because the second to last one is pretty funny, and then you'll see what happened on the last one. But yeah, I won't spoil it. I won't say anything. What do you think about Murray switching to Yonex E-Zone 100? And then of course, Jeremy, my pal, he's my teammate at school, had to emphasize that question. I know he's laughing right now. For sure he's laughing. Guys, I've told you guys I love Andy Murray. And it breaks my heart that he's using an E-Zone 100 now. He went from his very beautiful PT57A Pro Stock Radical paint job that he's been using for a very long time. And he abandoned us. He abandoned us. And he switched to Yonex. But honestly, when I saw that, I was blown away. I was like, Yonex, really? Like, and like a V-Core, or sorry, an E-Zone 100, like, that's such an interesting switch. And like, he's really going for it here. He's a guy that like really strives and looks at every single last thing in his game to try and get the most out of himself. So, like, that's just like, honestly, at the end of the day, I actually respect the change. So, of course, I would love for him to stay with his Radical, but like, if he feels that that is the best thing for him, then that's the best thing for him. And we're going to see here with some of the results coming up, it might not be directly related with the Racket switch or anything, but it could. I wouldn't be surprised though if he goes back to the head rackets, because he's done that in the past. He's used some head rackets that have been blacked out, and then yeah, it's tough. What else we got in there? Matt, welcome to the live. I know you've always said you've struggled to get in here. We've been going for a while today. I got a tournament, and I've had to do 3 rackets. I'm on the last one here now. So yeah, grinding here. And Jeremy has asked me top 5 male tennis players of all time. I mean, honestly, I think that's pretty straightforward. I mean, you have to go with by slams, Novak, Rafa, Roger. And then you've got to pick probably Pete Sampras. And then the last spot is kind of up for grabs. I would say it's like Andre Agassi, John McEnroe, Mats Wilander, Rod Laver, John Newcomb. I know some people had like a ton of slams that were like kind of in and out of the open era. Jimmy Connors. There's a lot of people there that I think could be in that 5th spot. But that's up for you guys. Hey, Leighton Hewitt. What do you mean? Nah. No Leighton Hewitt in the top 5 all time. Sorry. I actually did a video about that. I did and I got some hate actually for some of them. Hey, I would love for Andy Murray to be in that. But like, he's just not he's an all-time great. And if he didn't have to deal with Novak, Roger, and Rafa, he would probably have like, I would say probably would have 15, close to 15 or slams. But like, you could also argue Thomas Berdych, Tsonga, Stan Wawrinka, David Ferrer, Davydenko, all these guys that were in the top 10 for years, they would also have slams as well. Somebody commented, Boris Becker, yeah, you could also maybe throw him in that last 5th spot. Kate, are you thinking of going, there's a little thing that's hiding, to the US Open? Well, it's always up for consideration because we are relatively close. I went to the US Open in 2013, 2014, and I've played at the venue the last 3 years for our ITA tournament. Ooh, thank you for that. Lendl had a lot of slams as well. I knew some people were going to mention some people. So, yeah, I mean, US Open, there's always a chance I can go, but it's also tough now because this fall, we have the ITA, so we'll be going to the venue again anyway. Probably we'll play some ITFs in the fall or some college UTR circuit events, and then we have our conference as well. So we have a dual conference season, so it's it gets really busy, but there's always a chance. We've always looked at it because it's fun. It is really weird though. Like, I think it would be weird to go to the US Open now, like, and the event would be actually happening. That sounds really weird probably for all of you, but like, when I was a kid, I went there and it was crazy. Like, what an experience. You go to a Grand Slam, you go there back-to-back years. What a fun experience it was. You saw some great tennis. Just taking it all in, like 10 and 11-year-old me, right? Now, these last 3 years, we go play the ITA championships at the US Open for the last 3 years. And it's like now I kind of can't picture the venue with people full, like the stadium's full. Like, we play there literally a week after the US Open. Everything's all set up. It's great. It was so fun. It's been fun. And now going back to the US Open and I would not be actually playing would feel weird because we were pretty much blessed and super privileged and lucky to play on those courts for that tournament. What about Caden? No, he's decent. He has a Jeremy. You're so mean. You're so mean. Did you ever play anyone like? I can't see that comment because the heart. There we go. Did you ever play anyone like Tomic that massages the ball and have lazy style? Yeah, all the time. All the time. I was saying earlier, you got guys that play college that are like grinding, and then you have guys that are like so talented that like don't really try in a way. And like if they tried, back to what we were talking about earlier, if they went to the gym, if they had a good mental game, they would be like easily like D1, like a good D1, but like they just don't really care. But yes, I have played guys like that. It's kind of annoying, but you gotta just figure it out. You gotta be mentally strong. When is the ITA event at the complex? It's normally the week after or like a week and a half after the final. So when we get there, they literally still like the past 3 years, they've been like taking down like the ESPN booth while we were playing, which is funny. Like there's still like the draws up there, like it's weird. Like my first year we went in, like everything was still there. Like we got to hit on Louis Armstrong, like the new one.
which is like super cool. The grandstand court was also so fun to play on. Like, the courts are by far the best hardcore like I've ever played on in my life. They're great. I watched Comic when he was 16 in the final of a local tournament here, and he wasn't so lazy then. Don't know what happened to him. Yeah, I mean, that happens to a lot of tennis players. Like, they get burned out. They don't care as much. They get a big payday. They go buy their fancy car in their house, and they're like, okay, for what am I doing this for now? You know what I mean? Very common. Very common. Rank the majors. That's like super opinionated. We're gonna get some major pushback probably for my ranking of them. It's changed over the years. Like, honestly though, I said like going to the US Open maybe isn't as special anymore, but like if I was to win a major, it would probably be the US Open because it would be so special for me. Going there when I was a kid, playing at the courts at the collegiate level, and then like winning the tournament on Arthur Ashe would be like really cool. But as far as like going there as a, I'll rank them two different ways. Going there as a fan and then winning them. I would love to win the US Open. That would be number one because I think you would get like a nice chunk of cash for winning the US Open as well. They pay good at the US Open, I think. And then also like going out in New York would be fun after you win like with your team. So that'd be number one. Number two would be Wimbledon for sure. Winning Wimbledon is like you win at life. So that's hard not to put that there. Number three would be the Australian Open. I think that would be cool. Australia is so, I want to go there so bad. And number four is the French Open. I have a lot more appreciation for clay, French Open than I used to, and I look forward to watching the French Open, but it still would be like probably my least favorite major to win. Don't get me wrong, I would still take it. Are you kidding me? As far as fan experience, number one, I think would be, it would be really close between Wimbledon and the Australian Open because everybody calls the Australian Open the Happy Slam. They think the viewing is great. All the players are so excited to be there. Wimbledon is also like you're going to watch like royalty at like center court, and it's strawberries and cream, and it's white, and it's like very traditional. And I think that is a really unique experience. It's like going to watch the Masters in golf, like a very cool experience. So I would say they would tie for first, and then I would put the French Open. Paris is beautiful. You know, it's the French elegance, and it's on clay, and it's different. And then I would probably put the US Open last for watching. I've been there. I've been to New York plenty of times. It's not my favorite place in the world. Queens and Flushing Meadows is honestly a bit of a dive. Sorry to spoil it for some of you guys, but like outside of the US Open grounds, like I said, I've been there a fair amount of times now to watch the tournament, to play on the courts, been in the area. It's not great. When it's packed in there, it's a cool vibe. You get like the loud New York vibe, people are going crazy, that's cool. But like, comparing that to like Australia or Wimbledon, I think I like those vibes better to watch. Just my opinion. Are you going to do some more demos like how you tried out the Pure Aero Drop-Off Origin? Yes. Within the next week or so, we'll probably have the Dunlop FX 500 Tour review. I already reviewed it actually, I just have to edit it and do that stuff. So that's coming out. We got a Tour line review coming out soon. And yeah, always stuff on the go, but always open to ideas, like I said earlier. Like, always looking for people to say if they would like to see certain videos or whatever. Hi bro,
Using a full Western grip forehand, my forehand motion a bit similar to Sinner. I like 1820 because of the spin. What is your recommendation racket? Oof. Whoa, that's I think you gotta go with rackets that maybe pro, like I'm just thinking on the top of my head, rackets that pro players would use that have like a Western grip. I would stay away from control-oriented rackets, like a pro staff, blades. I don't think that would work well. I think like the most control-oriented racket I would maybe go for is like the Speed Pro. But I'm thinking more like Pure Drives, Pure Aero, Dunlop FX 500, V-Core 100, V-Core 98, E-Zone 100, E-Zone 98. I'm thinking maybe like if you're a lower level, you could use like a Clash. You could use, I'm forgetting a brand probably. But yeah, those rackets tend to do better with those type of grips just because they produce power and spin. And like Western grip people tend to like that stuff more. I love the mini stadium at the US Open Court 17. I also love that court. I've been lucky enough to play on that court multiple times as well. I saw Milos play, Feliciano Lopez on that court, Kevin Anderson played, what's his name, Jerzy Jankowicz. I saw, there was another girls match, maybe it was Jeannie. Oh, I'm forgetting. Anyway, saw a lot of good matches on that one. Oh, saw Jack Sock and Vasek Pospisil play doubles on that court against Granolers and somebody else. But yeah, that is a great court. Really love that court. What would be the score? What would the score be if you played Beckett from Tencom? Frig. I don't know. I would probably beat him, but I don't know. I don't know actually what Beckett's UTR is, to be honest. Beckett is getting better though. I see his stuff. He's hitting pretty well. He's getting better. You can tell he likes tennis. I appreciate that. So yeah, it's cool. Beckett is actually a legend. Great humor, funny videos, good editing. Okay. Are Dunlop rackets under or overrated? Ooh. The brand is underrated, in my opinion. The brand is underrated. And the reason I say that is because people still treat Dunlop like it was like 5-7 years ago. Dunlop had like a really rough time. And they were trying to come out with shit, and it sucked. And now, like, they have some pretty decent stuff, so I think it's underrated. I got my last one here, so throw your questions in there real quick, because then I'm out, and I gotta go eat lunch, and I'm going to the gym. Am using right now Headspeed Pro. It's good, but thinking about going to Percept 97D. Yeah, I played that one. It's actually pretty tough to play with, so you gotta really be swinging out on that one. Hi, I'm playing in my tennis tournament tomorrow with my brother. Wish me luck. Love the channel as well. Thank you for liking and enjoying. I'm grateful you like the content. Good luck in your tournament. I'm also playing in a tournament. Hopefully we tear it up together. If your life is on friggin' Jeremy with the Jeremy, guys, for people that still don't know, Jeremy is on my team. He's killing me with these questions. If your life is on the line, who are you trusting to win a 3-set from your I'm not answering that. I'm not answering that. I'm not doing that. I'm not answering that. Guys, Jeremy right now is like laughing for sure behind his screen right now.
Worst major racket brand? Frig, that's so tough. There's so many good rackets right now. And like, everybody's so personal preference. And like, there's rackets from every brand that I think are dog shit. Like, from Wilson, I think the Clash is kind of stupid. But so many people love the Clash. And like, I will end up reviewing probably the Clash. I just think it's weird. It works so well for so many people. I think the Burn was kind of stupid from Wilson. I don't know if they still make that. From Babolat, Babolat actually, they only really have 3 lines and they do well. So Babolat's solid. Yonex, like, I don't know. Sometimes I haven't really loved the E-Zone and the V-Core, but a lot of people love them, and they're not bad rackets. From Head, the Instinct is just ridiculously bad. But once again, some people like the Instinct. I'm not a big speed guy, but I will probably end up reviewing those rackets too. I know the Dunlop SX line is horrible. People have said they don't like it, but once again, some people like it. Also from Wilson, again, I'm not a big fan of the blade. Like, I think the blade is overrated. But like, once again, works for people. I'm actually going to be doing a Boom Pro versus Boom MP review soon. I have those rackets upstairs and I'm excited to do those. Anyway, what do we got here? When is MP Tennis getting sponsored by Poppy? Another stupid question. Poppy is this drink that they have in the States and like it just tastes really good, so he's teasing me about that. What's your favorite meal before a match? If I'm playing in the morning, I love to have eggs, some sort of like bagel or toast with like a smoothie or something. And then in the afternoon, I'm really not picky. Just nothing too complicated, nothing too spicy or anything like that. Thanks, bro. Respect you. My first tournament as well. Good luck, Mr. Frosty Sports. If your life is on the line, who would you put your money on? Roger Federer or Andy Murray and Roland Garros? Good Lord. Ugh. I mean, Andy never won a Roland Garros and Roger did. But right now I would pick Andy Murray because Roger's retired and his knee would hurt him. So I would pick Andy right now. In their prime, I would probably pick Roger. But I still like, Andy's still my favorite. Curious about Super Tour compared to a Restring Sync and Luxlon 4G. But some free power, hopefully you can give me your thoughts. Cheers. 4G holds tension really, really well. Restring Sync is by far the control of the 3. Super Toro is kind of like the midpoint there. It's shaped. It's pretty control-oriented. It's a little bit soft. That's why I would pick that one for me out of the 3. I feel like 4G and Restring in general are both a little harder on the arm, but you know, Toro is still able to give you qualities like those strings do, and it's a little bit softer. Are you playing any tournaments over the summer in the US? Maybe. I might go down to Florida and play some Casely events with my friend. I also have my name in many different M15s and M25s over the summer, so whether I get in or whether I don't, who knows. Federer, even now, big diehard Fed fan for sure there. Overrated or underrated? Peanut butter bagel. Peanut butter bagels are underrated. Worst player on your college tennis team? Go. Not answering that. You and Jeremy both getting me to throw people under the bus on my team. Not doing that. I'll tell you, I can have some pretty bad days. So, get your questions in there. I need to go to the gym. And I will be back here in a sec. I'm just... Hopefully that doesn't fall.
Could we see more comp blogs? Probably. You've probably gone over this before, Kate, but what are your specs and your racket now? Oh, I just did my static weights actually like right before I did these rackets. It's like around 352. The other ones I actually don't know. I don't have the machines. Ciao, man. Have a good one. Have a good day, Mr. Foodland. Best racketing review, 1820. The Blade 1820 is really hot. The Pure Strike 1820 is really hot. You get the speeds. But then Yonex has their percepts that are doing pretty good. So, what is your go-to play when a must-have point? Depends on the player. If I'm playing somebody with a shitty backhand, I might serve and volley, kick serve to their backhand on the ad side. Or serve into their strength, get the return back, and grind from the baseline and play the +1 to their running weakness. Is tension made decent on Super Tour? Yes, it is. I wouldn't use it if I didn't think it was. Okay, going off to tennis practice soon. Good stuff. Have fun. Guys, I'm also off to the gym. Like I said, I got a tournament this weekend. I got all these bad boys streamed up. Got 3 to bring with me and 2 used ones, so we are good. And yeah, we will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Be sure to keep your eyes open for some videos that are coming out here in the next little while. I don't know when I'm going to do it live next time, so thanks for watching. We'll see you later, and have a good day, guys.